Hello everybody, I'm Alfred, and the video we're about to watch and listen to is titled Real Human Robots. Now this is posted on Supercar Blondie's channel. Let's check it out.
This is the most advanced humanoid robot in the world.
How cool is that?
It might be the future of the human race. It can show emotions. It can interact with the world around it.
So how many fingers am I holding up?
You are holding up 3 fingers.
And one day, it may be able to even walk around. This is Ameca.
Hello there.
Ameca is the brainchild of British company Engineered Arts and represents the latest and greatest in human-robot interaction.
At Engineered Arts, we design and create humanoid robots. Humanoid robots just like Ameca here. And the whole reason we create these robots is mainly for entertainment, for communication, for education, and for research.
The 17 different motors in its face allow Ameca to give detailed facial expressions.
You know, there are many things to be said about this. First of all, when it comes to robots, and let's talk about the Armageddon and the Bible and the book of Revelation and things of that nature. Of course, it has always been somewhat ominous. It has always been like a harbinger. And when tech of this nature, when it comes to artificial intelligence and robots, and of course, like movies like Terminator and Judgment Day and all of that, you have to understand something about all this. I am not worried about, and nobody should be worried, about the realisticness of robots. That is not the issue. The issue is the artificial intelligence and the programming, and when it comes to that, the threats that, let us say that a robot, or let us say that there are 300 or 1 million robots in people's houses, and they have the functions of most humans. What most humans are able to do, they are able to do, and they are actually put there to help and assist human beings. Let's say they all malfunction and they want to take over the world. The threat that they pose is less than the threats that a lot of other things pose that we have already, that we already live with. First of all, there are already nuclear bombs in this world, and of course you should know what a nuclear bomb can do. Look at Hiroshima. Nuclear bombs already exist, and a lot of them are in the hands of crazy dictators. That is one. Number two, there are a lot of guns in the hands of criminals. It is unfortunate also that guns, a lot of people make guns illegal. So what happens is that now we have a situation where only the criminals have guns. Criminals with connections, if they are strict when it comes to guns, if the flow of guns is so super strict, then criminals with connections will be the only ones that have guns. But if they are not as strict, and I'm not talking about strict in the sense of it should be difficult for people to buy a gun. I'm talking about even though guns are there's no place around that sells guns to the public, criminals with connections will still have guns. Keep in mind that guns can be made, and guns are made. An individual can privately make a gun. They are homemade guns, of great qualities. As a matter of fact, a lot of bombs, are homemade. That is the reality of the matter, and that is something you just have to know. And that being said, it creates a situation where criminals with connections, as well as the police, are the only ones that have guns, and then the politician becomes a god, because there is a strong imbalance of power. Like, look at what happened in Australia, where they are beating up people who have not taken the vax. and it's like, oh, it is for your health. So they are beating you up for your health. You have to take the vax. Where's your ID? Where's your vax passports? We've seen those videos online of people being beat up by the police, and people who protest against the vax mandates getting beat up, carried, old people and all that, being slammed and beaten up by the police. In the name of the police is trying to, they are doing it for the health of the people. So they are beating people up for their health. But that is what happens when there's that great imbalance. Because all the power is now with the politicians and with the criminals. So we'll see a danger. So that is a greater danger than robots that walk around with artificial intelligence that have malfunctioned and want to take over the world. Understand that human beings will still be more dangerous. There is still mechanics when it comes to the robots. Let's say robots wants to take over the world in that kind of situation. A human being will still be able to defeat the robots. We have guns. If the human beings have guns, the robots, they will have to have something like guns. If the robot does not have a gun, the robot is going to get beat up. Understand that people fight, and a lot of times somebody can be attacked, and in some cases they may have to fight. So that is even a greater threat than the robots. What threats? Like, for example, when you look at this particular robot that is just bones, let's say that it wants to take over the world, like in a movie kind of scenario, or it wants to dominate. Who can it dominate? If it is bashed with a baseball bat, twice, or punched, and the circuits, of course, it has certain weak points, a lot of weak points. It becomes a problem. It is going to be destroyed very easily. However, for someone to make a robot that is going to be more difficult to be destroyed, it is going to be built for battle. So right from the get-go, you have to have the question, why did the person build it like that? It's just like a car versus a tank. A car is a car, but a tank, an armored tank, that's something different. It is built for a different purpose, and it is clear what it is built for. For example, when you see something like the presidential motorcade, of the U.S. president, if you put a bomb under it, it will not explode and kill the people inside, because it is not just a car. It looks like a car, but it is actually a tank that is disguised to look like a car. And that is how the president, the official, ride of the president of the United States is. It is not an ordinary car. It looks like a car, but it is actually built different. It is a tank that looks like a car. So if you can see, if there's a robot that is able to maneuver and subdue humans, it has to be built for that purpose. And it brings the question, why are they building it for that purpose and then putting it in people's houses? Or who is deploying it? And where is it going to get? It has to have weapons like guns and things of that nature. So why is this robot going to be built with guns attached to it and all kinds of weapons? So when it comes to the robot itself, it is not a threat. But when artificial intelligence is applied to other things, when it's applied to systems, when it is applied to things that can be used to manipulate human beings, like we can see that is starting already, things like algorithms and manipulating people's emotions, people's politics, and people's actions via selecting the kind of information and the news they see. That is even a greater threat. Or when it comes to things like Neuralink, that Tesla's founder, Elon Musk is doing, and of course Google has their own whether deep mind or deep something, those kind of things, putting in people's head, and things like a fox vaccination that will end up being a way to force people to have microchips and implant microchips within their skin. A lot of people have not looked at the aspect of the vax being a software in itself, and it's having upgrades with the each new vax and all of that. You may say that technology does not exist. No, it is you that thinks that it does not exist. Normally, when technological advancements are made, the company announces it, and it is monetized, into a product. It's changed into a product that is monetized in that way. But what if the technology, man's understanding of technology has grown to a level where someone has been able to make, microchips that are in liquid form that can be implanted into human beings, alter the DNA, make the human hackable and controllable, and understand that certain things are a matter of emotions and toxins. By manipulating, you can manipulate human beings from smells, you can manipulate human beings from adrenaline level, and also several chemicals in the human body. That is something that should not be taken lightly. So by stimulating certain things, the ability to technologically stimulate things within the human body or the human brain, human beings can be controlled and basically become the machines. So that is even a greater threat, or the threat of human beings being merged with the machine. That is even worse. It has gone from we cannot live without our phones and our devices. We carry it with us everywhere we go, to us wearing it. It went with something that we carried with us to things that we wear, wearables. Now it has now reached the level of the next step is it being a part of us, it being implanted in us, So that is a bigger threat than the robot itself. That's it's something you have to know. And what the Bible actually talks about with the mark of the beast actually points to that merging, that creation of a metahuman, a human being that has been merged with the machine, and that is the problem. When the technology and the human have been merged, into synchrony, and that now gives evil people and the devil and the Antichrist the opportunity to basically manipulate humans. So that is a bigger threat. Even threats like China with their social credit score system, and things like even in Canada, what's happened when the Freedom Convoy, those who donated to it, they had their accounts frozen, and all the repercussions that they faced. That is a huge problem. That is a greater threat to freedom and the future than any mere robot in itself. And like I mentioned, when it comes to robots, robots have to be built for battle. For them to actually be a threat to a human, they have to be built for battle. And a human being also can build himself, not just physically, but also have his own technological gadgets that will be built for battle, that would easily defeat any such robots that malfunctions or is actually on the low programmed to try to dominate its masters and its owners and all of that. Of course, there are exceptions where, for example, the human being is very old, but even in that situation, what if a young thief jumps into an apartment with a very old man? It's basically still the same thing. So let's keep watching.
And the mix of pneumatics and electrics in the body allow Ameca to wave, gesture, and even dance. Ameca made their debut at CES 2022 and became a star overnight. But the reaction was mixed, to say the least. Not because Ameca wasn't a groundbreaking piece of technological advancement, but because the world suddenly saw Hollywood's favourite threat to humanity come to life. The similarities to the Terminator, artificial intelligence, and most obviously iRobot are uncanny. But it might be a while yet till we need to call on Will Smith to come and slap it down.
These robots, they can be dangerous. Not intentionally, they're just big and bulky and can fall over.
So what will Ameca be used for?
To start off with, it's mainly going to be interaction. So it might be that you'll find one of these in a shopping mall. You can ask it where the restrooms are. Or you might find it in a hotel or airport to check it. In the future after that, when it can be more dexterous and maybe even walk around, we'll start seeing it in more places like warehouses. and then potentially in the public.
In the future, I'll be even more expressive, more dexterous, more autonomous, and even more helpful to humanity.
However, one of the biggest fears when it comes to robotics, other than them becoming self-aware of humanity's failing.
Sorry, one other problem I would like to bring out is given the robot important choice making decisions, that should be left to human, because creating a system that is run with AI, and robots everywhere, the robot is basically programmed. And apart from the fact that just like when you play a video game and you could see glitches where, for example, a character is passing through a wall and all of that, it wasn't programmed that way, but that was that is a result of a code, a clash in code, properties that the creator did not see, that the programmer did not see. In the same way, there could be clashes, in programming code and situations. Unique situations could arise that the programmer did not foresee. So how the robot might act in such a situation might create a clash with what is in the best interest of safety for everyone involved. So the robot should not be given they should not be put in situations where they make choices. They should be controlled and influenced by humans. The choices and the decisions should be in the hands of human beings. If there are any choices or decisions that the robot should make, it should be easily overwritten, and it should be very simple and uncomplicated, and it should be seriously limited. But let choices be in the hands of the human, because this is obviously also an attempt to, a lot of scientists today, they have been taught wrong. So they look at it like there is no God and human beings are just a collection of nuts and bolts, and they want to replicate nuts and bolts in robots, that would in their mind, be up to the level of functionality of human beings. But that is not possible. For example, robots do not have souls, they do not have consciences. So that is going to affect their decision making process. They are going to make decisions that are void of a conscience, that are void of compassion, that are void of humanity, because they are not human. They are just a bundle of programming code. So a lot of decision making that has to do with the functionality of society, since they want to put them in hotels, restaurants, and everywhere, and basically create a world that is run around them in the name of technologies advancing. Obviously all this is going to take off a lot of jobs, and that explains why there's that push for universal basic income, which is going to create a situation where all the ownership is going to be moved into the hands of the creators of the robots, the people who have the most money, and then everybody else owns nothing and is happy because they are allowed to live based on the generosity of those who own everything. And that will now create a new currency, because the new currency will be on how compliant you are with the government, or basically with those who own everything. Remember the words of Lord Nathan Rothschild, give me control of a nation's wealth and I care not who makes the laws. When you control the nation's wealth, you do not care who makes the laws. So when that kind of situation of you own nothing and you're happy is created, and people buy into socialism, and everything should be free, the government should make everything available for free. When that happens, that means you have actually decided to have nothing, to own nothing, and you have given all ownership to a few, and those few are now allowing you to enjoy what they feel for free, because not everything is going to be accessible to you. Even in that world, that is a reality, but you'll be deceived, and a new form of currency will be formed, and that currency will be based on points and rewards based on how compliant and how obedient you are with, the status quo that those who own everything use the government to put upon the people.
I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
And enslaving human beings for the rest of time is how they could be used to replace people's jobs.
Look at this little motherfucker. You steal our jobs, but you can't even stand up.
But Morgan doesn't see that future.
The car industry has been using...
Of course, he's going to say he doesn't see that future. What else is he going to say? He works for the company. He's helping build them.
Robots for over 50 years. The first robots on the production line were...
That's like asking a snake oil salesman, if his product is going to have any negative side effects. Of course, he's going to say no.
In the 1970s. There's a lot more people, a lot more humans working in the industry now than there were back then. So those robots haven't taken people's jobs.
Ameca is the fourth interaction of humanoid.
You see what he said? What he said is a lie. When he says there are a lot more humans, he gave the car example that, first of all, people thought that when there are going to be more robots and more mechanization, that is going to take a lot of jobs from the car industry. He said that there are more people who are making cars now than then. But guess what? There were fewer car companies then. There were fewer people owning cars and driving cars then. And the world population then versus now is two different things. The world population is much bigger now than it was then. So when you factor all these things, a lot of jobs are still gone. You cannot ignore the fact that automation and robotics take away human jobs. That is a fact. But perhaps it's a video for another day. That does not mean that we have to go the route of universal basic income, but there is another route to take that is more practical and all of that. And I'll probably write a book on it and what the future should be, on that route, and it is going to, be agreeable to anybody that has some common sense. But let's keep watching this.
Robotics from Engineered Arts. The first version was Robo-Thespian, first built 15 years ago. Before Quinn and Mesmer
working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living,
paved the way for Ameca.
I am so clever that sometimes I don't understand a single word of what I am saying.
But it's not the intricate facial expressions or the human-like appearance of Ameca that really makes it seem human. Ameca almost has its own personality. It'll hand out a compliment at random.
And I like your sweatshirt.
Or complain that it's simply tired of saying the same answer over and over.
Humans ask me all the time. Sometimes it gets a little tiring.
Or even ask a favour of a human.
They've been very good, but we don't need any more interaction, so...
Sure, I will shut down.
Yes.
Please tell Marcus I say goodbye too.
Of course, I will.
And it's this human nature that makes the future of Ameca so exciting.
Maybe you and I can dance together.
That sounds good to me, Ameca.
Wonderful. I'll put you on my schedule.
Or perhaps so terrifying.
There's something that this also brings to mind. Jesus says, when you look at the book of Genesis, God said something. When the Tower of Babel was built, he said that, these people are united, and, if they continue this way, anything that they set out to do, they will succeed in it, they will achieve it. And unfortunately, they were becoming their own gods, and serving basically the devil. When you look at Babylon, they were not following God, and it would have created a problem for God to reach out to them and actually save mankind, because that's the direction that we're going. Even though they were able to do anything, it will lead to destruction. Just the same way now we see the ability to do this. Some people will be looking at it as, oh, so we can recreate human life itself. No, that is not what is happening here, but that is the delusion that they would have. And life without Christ leads to destruction. That being said, let's pray for Supercar Blondie, her team, and all that. In Jesus' name, Lord Father, thank you for this day. Bless your name for all you've done for us and all you're doing in our lives. Father, I bring for you Supercar Blondie and her team. We pray, Lord Father, that all is well with her, Lord. We pray, Lord Father, that she's blessed. We pray, Lord Father, that if she's not saved or any of her team are not saved, we pray, Lord Father, that an opportunity will present itself where they will get the gospel, they will receive the gospel, and they will see the beauty of the gospel and embrace the gospel in the name of Jesus. I pray, Lord Father, that they shall receive and enjoy eternal life in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you for joining me with that prayer. If you are watching this and you haven't given your life to Christ, make sure you go to alfred.vip, click the salvation prayer link in the main menu. When you are at the page, you come out that has this prayer of salvation. Say that prayer telling God you want to give your life to Christ and become a Christian. Thank you, and God bless you.